As much as I like this sub, I live in fear of having the opportunity to post here, and yet, here I am, with the realization that I have family that I can talk about and hear. Warning, English is not my first language. This is the most manipulative and ugly, literally ugly, classicist, racist person I've ever met. I've worked in customer service and do politics in a totalitarian government, so it's safe to assume I've already seen the worst of the worst. She is married to my uncle. Let's call her Mary. Mary has pulled a lot of entitled stunts over the course of her life. I probably have over 100 stories that I can share that I know of. I don't talk to that part of the family because it's toxic as fuck, but there are a few family gatherings in which we meet. One of those happened yesterday and I got reminded of her golden traits, so, thought you would enjoy raging with me. Her entitlement shone yesterday, as she tried to make herself the best friend of my current boss, who's married to my cousin and he's filthy rich, brought a friend of hers who was supposed to be strictly quarantined because she is high risk, tried to outshine the 1-month-old baby who we were all there to meet with her already grown-up daughters who we've all met, tried to become the host of the party in a house that wasn't hers, going as far as to search and serve food from the refrigerator that wasn't designated to the party servings, and to top it all off, we were also there to pray for my cousin's mother who died last week. I don't participate in Christian stuff, but she was my favorite aunt and like a second mother to me, so the moment of appreciation was very important to me, to my cousin, my other aunt, and Mary's husband, his sister. Turns out Mary decided that since we were there to remember the dead ones, it would be a nice thing to, not only take the role of the main person leading the prayers, but to also include a picture, a big one, of her mother, that she pulled out of her purse, and put it in front of my aunt's picture, covering it almost completely, and start with a speech of her of how she missed her mother, who died 10 years ago. And literally just say rip about my aunt's death. But I'm not here today to tell you that story. Oh no, I was just venting. Since I have so much to tell and so little time, I figured it would be best if I started with the oldest tale I know of. The time she asked my mom to sell her my brother while she was 4 months pregnant. Good old Mary is infertile. She has 2 daughters, one was conceived in vitro and then introduced into her womb. The other one popped out of nowhere. Literally, we suspect she bought it out from someone since she has a record of trying this, but whatever. Before having her first daughter, when I was around 10 years old, my mom broke the news to the family that she was pregnant. Yay! Mary wasn't happy with this because she, as of then, had been trying for years with her husband and wasn't able to get pregnant. She always had this sort of competition with my mom, and with everyone, because she has this need of being the best one in everything. She must have the most money, have the expensiveness clothes, being more successful in her career, having the happiest marriage, going to the most exotic places. But she wasn't the best. She was the only one with no children out of the 7 siblings of the family, my aunts and uncles, and she was also one of the oldest wives. So imagine her jealousy when the youngest one, directly below her husband, was going to have her second child while her and her husband were still childfree. The horror. Her status. So, she put my mother aside one day, and told her, you know, it isn't fair that you get pregnant before us. It wasn't fair for you to have Op before your brother since he's older than you, but whatever, it can't be helped if Op was a broken condom or something. But you know, we've been trying for years now and we're just exhausted. And we're not comfortable with trying those artificial methods nor having a baby without our blood. So, since you're family, and we know you are not in a financial position to take care of another baby right now, what would you say if I offered to pay for everything pregnancy related, and after the baby is born I would pay you, amount, for keeping it as your brother's and I's baby ? And quat. Of course my mom said no. She told me roughly how the proposition went years later, but only because I was the one that found out why she was so pushy about buying my brother, because this wasn't just a one-time thing. No, she tried constantly to convince my parents to sell them my brother throughout the next 5 months, and even for some months after he was born. You see, my father is a son of immigrants. He has European bloodline, and is very handsome. Mary also has a need of proving to everyone that she has royal blood, and aesthetics are everything to her. Hence the need to show herself as the best of the best in every aspect of her life, and she will not hesitate to do anything to achieve her goal of being the perfect woman with the perfect life. This includes pretending she has white genes. She doesn't. We live in a very heavily race-mixed country. She was born in one of the least developed states, in a humble family, in a small town, with only town people that has been working under the sun for generations, so all of them have dark skin. She married my uncle, who comes from a family that has lived in an island for generations, and who is also the most dark-skinned one of all of the siblings. There is no way she is going to have a baby who is white. But, my mom is one of the most light-skinned between her siblings, and she married my dad, who has Italian and polished genes. And I was born with a very pale skin and smooth hair. Mary's and her husband's hair are what we describe as bad hair, not in an offensive way, but that's how it's called here. It's basically super twisted and thick hair. There was a big chance my brother was going to be born European looking. You already know where this is going, right? One day, I was minding my own business while in their daughter's birthday party, and I happened to wander close to where Mary was talking with someone, didn't know her, and I heard how she openly complained about how her daughter was black, and how she wished she managed to convince my mom and dad to just give her their baby, because having a white son would have solved her of her problems. It is so hard to move up the stairs of society when you have a black family, and not only that, but having an ugly daughter isn't going to help either. There's no way she will marry a rich man. How is she supposed to pay her retirement? There was more said, but I can't remember it all. And yes, my uncle approves of her behavior and patronizes it. They, two dark-skinned people, believe in white supremacy. Oh, by the way, forgot to mention that the daughter that popped out of nowhere one day, is white, and looks nothing like Mary nor her husband. Hello again. I posted here around 2 years ago about my entitled, white supremacist but dark-skinned aunt, Mary, who tried to buy my brother when he was a baby. I am back with a sort of update because I like reading updates here and I assume I'm not the only one. First, I would like to answer some of the most frequent questions I saw on the last post. This all took place in Venezuela, a former Spanish colony full of internalized racism. Currently the government and police/military is as corrupted as it can get. We barely have any social safety regulation, and by that I mean that all in all, it's easy to get away with pretty much every crime if either you have enough money, have the right connections. The crime doesn't affect anyone with money or the right connections. The crime isn't as bad as other stuff. For example, you can pretty much get away with as much as murder because there are other problems the military and police have to solve, so they don't care. All of this to say that there was absolutely no point on reporting the suspicious white baby. We tried to report abuse on the oldest daughter years ago and it was dismissed. The equivalent of CPS here is even more negligent, so. Yeah, on to the update. A few months after that last gathering I described, Mary went to live to the USA. She took her oldest daughter and left my uncle here with the youngest daughter. Uncle won't elaborate on why. My mom was happy at first because we know they were in an abusive relationship, two-way. They both abused each other for years. All of the doors in their house had punch holes, and the walls too, so she saw it as an opportunity to both intercept in her brother's life and try and mend their relationship and also investigate about this popped out of nowhere baby. My uncle played dumb. We know it wasn't an IVF baby like their oldest daughter. It's still unclear if it was surrogate or if it was adopted. I met the kid a few times since he realized just how lonely he was. Mary basically managed to alienate him from his family and he constantly only interacted with Mary's family since they married. So with this newfound freedom, he started suggesting gatherings and joining to family events. The kid is probably around 6 years old now. I suck at guessing age lol, so take that with a grain of salt. But looks old enough to be in like, first grade? She doesn't speak. She barely looks at people and communicates via mumbling and little screams. She clearly understands what you tell her but doesn't make any effort to communicate with anyone that isn't her dad and actively avoids you if you try. She doesn't even grab food. And when interacting with the other kids/babies in the family she's visibly uncomfortable. I swear she doesn't look at anyone, just at whatever she has in her hand and that's it. When she was younger, on that first encounter I narrated on my last post, it was the same, but she was literally a baby and I figured she was just shy. That day she also cried if anyone other than her parents got close to her. So far, everything has been odd behaviors. Not really red flags. Please don't jump at my throat. I recognize red flags, thanks Reddit. But really weird behaviors. My uncle exhibits classic abuse sequels, but due to his history with Mary and his always overall fucked up personality we honestly ignore him. And he seems better since Mary left. I have never seen him interact with such love with his daughter. I know it seems contradictory but, trust me, he really improved as a person since being alone, and even though the kid exhibits weird behavior it's not because of my uncle. He's a good dad. He just has bad taste in women lol. He has always been a good dad with fucked up judgment and morals, which I know is a weird combination. But he isolated again once we started trying to be more involved with the kid and started asking questions. We currently haven't seen him or speak with him for around 6 months or more. There's more family drama involved in this outcome that's too long to describe, but the TLDR of it's he and his other sister resent my mom and joined to try and screw my mom. Clap once if you also have generational trauma. Mary, on the other hand, is living her dream creme de la creme life, works at Amazon packaging stuff, earns enough money to support a frugal lifestyle for her. She barely posts anything about her daughter, so I don't know if she's spoiling her. All I've seen are posts of her with all of her luxuries. No one know where they are living except for my uncle, I guess. They are still married and supposedly in a long-distance relationship. No info on the oldest daughter. I've also gathered some extra information that I don't really know how else to include, so here's a bullet list. Neither Mary, nor her family, nor her daughter speak English. Haven't learnt yet. She has always worshipped her family over everything. Actually, she and my uncle used to live with 2 of her sister and I think an aunt, in their house. She took them everywhere. It was like her own personal cult because they did everything Mary said, no questions, and my uncle financially supported them all. So, when she went to live to USA she took her family with her, 5 people in total, counting her and the daughter, except my uncle and the youngest daughter. No one knows where they got the money from to migrate, especially to USA. They were not in a position to migrate. Uncle wasn't working due to the panini and she didn't have family outside of the country to send them money nor help them when they got to USA. She also didn't have a stable job here. It's unclear why my uncle and youngest daughter stayed here. I overheard a conversation about passports but nothing clear enough. Passports here are just one of the many expensive requirements if you want to leave the country, and are one of the most difficult things to get even if you have money to pay for the corrupt procedure to get one. Youngest daughter went to school up until the panini. It used to be the same school me and my brother went to. They put their daughters there due to jealousy. We all know that lol. Since the panini, as far as I know, she isn't studying. Uncle said he homeschools her. It's unclear if Mary sends them money. Uncle has an unstable contractor job. We don't know how he supports himself. Keeps dodging questions regarding his living situation and avoiding people seeing his house. Unclear who the youngest daughter stays with when uncle can't take care of her. Usually the only childcare or babysitting providers were Mary's family. But since she took them with her and uncle doesn't talk about Mary's family, we don't know who helps. Youngest daughter seemed to get more dark-skinned as she grew. Mary used to post literally everything about her daughter on social media. Now, not a peep. We suspect that Mary forced my uncle into isolation again, since he stopped talking to our family literally the day after the last family gathering he attended, in which he answered a video call from Mary there and she said hello to everyone. Uncle refuses to acknowledge youngest daughter doesn't speak. He says she's okay, but also gets annoyed that she doesn't speak, and denies anything is wrong. Mary was involved in the drama to try and screw my mom. It was a generational drama that doesn't involve her at all, even if she is married into the family, but she was the one blowing air to the fire. Apparently a teacher had reported Mary and my uncle to the CPS equivalent of my country, unclear what she was reporting exactly. Apparently, and I can confirm this since I once had to pick up my oldest cousin from school, there was a period before Mary left the country, that they never picked up their daughters from school. They left them there for hours, I'm talking more than 4 hours, and gave no explanation. This went on for months. It used to be sporadically, like twice a month, but this time it was every single day for months. The CPS report isn't related to this incident. There's a possibility that the school expelled youngest daughter due to having so much problems with Mary and my uncle. Once, in a conversation about baby pictures, uncle let it slip that he doesn't have any baby picture record of youngest daughter. We figured as much due to the suspicious way she appeared, but knowing Mary and her obsession with showcasing her life, it's weird there's not even one picture of newborn youngest daughter nor baby youngest daughter. When we met her for the first time she was already big and quad. They haven't celebrated youngest daughter birthdays as far as I know. Again, Mary has a showcase obsession. It's weird it wasn't posted anywhere if they did celebrate it. I suck at remembering dates too, so not sure if they ever did say when her birthday was. That's all I have. In the last year or so a bigger family drama exploded that, again, it's not really relevant to this situation but played an important role in how things turned out. It was right in the middle of trying to meet the popped out of nowhere daughter, but there were too many things involved to say it was all an evil plan to hide the truth about a possible human trafficking or something. Lamau. I know Mary was involved but she's not smart enough to orchestrate it all. Uncle has gone almost no contact. I could maybe talk in more detail about what happened just to entertain you guys and farm internet points with my family novella, but I guess that'd be up for public decision.